Protesters demonstrated outside the courthouse in New York City today, where a judge heard arguments in the case of former Columbia student Mahmoud Khalil. Khalil is being detained but has not yet been formally charged in connection with last year's protests on the Columbia campus. The federal government is seeking to make the legal American resident the first to be deported under a new executive order signed by President Trump. After the hearing today, one of Khalil's attorneys outlined their next steps.
Mr. Khalil and we will fight as hard as we need to in court to bring him home to New York City as soon as possible, and that's one of the motions that is now pending before this court. It is a motion to bring him back home and to free him so that he can fight this removal case.
CBS News legal reporter Katrina Kaufman was in court for the hearing. Katrina, always good to see you. Can you walk us through what happened in court today?
Lindsay, great to join you. Today, the real threshold question was where this is going to be heard. We're currently at the Southern District of New York Federal Courthouse. The government is arguing that this actually is not the right forum for this. As you were mentioned, Khalil is currently in Louisiana, where he was brought after he was arrested in New York. In between, he was briefly in New Jersey, so they're claiming that those are the proper venues for this. Something interesting that we learned is that Khalil's lawyers have had trouble accessing their clients since he was taken to Louisiana. They haven't been able to have a privileged attorney-client call with him. So something that the judge ordered today was for that to happen. 2 calls today and tomorrow. We were hoping to learn more about the legal basis on which the government arrested Khalil and is trying to deport him, but that actually wasn't discussed, and the judge gave them 2 openings. He asked twice if they wanted to talk about the merits of this case or even bail, but Khalil's attorney said that their next step is they want to file an amended habeas petition, which is going to be due tomorrow, Lindsay.
So as we mentioned, the Trump administration wants Khalil deported. After today's hearing, do we have any better sense of whether that's realistic?
Lindsay, we really don't. But from talking to legal experts, while there are obviously important immigration issues here, really the core issue is related to the First Amendment, that the government seems to be punishing Khalil for constitutionally protected free speech, his right to public protest, and that really just saying that he has views aligned with Hamas, they want a ceasefire, he is protesting in favor of a ceasefire, that would not be enough to surpass that protection. He'd have to really provide material support to terrorism, and a legal expert I spoke with pointed out that if they had that, we'd probably be seeing very different charges. However, the government may be relying on a rarely used provision that says that the Secretary of State can deport someone if they think that their presence in the U.S. is adverse to U.S. foreign policy interests. But even that, from talking to legal experts, could potentially be argued would violate the First Amendment to still use his speech as the grounds for this.
Well, thank you so much for your reporting and legal expertise, Katrina Kaufman.